Welcome to Business Talks, and let's talk about security. Everything we do before an incident seems alarmist, but everything we do after seemed inadequate. And securing to your risk tolerance is our title. We were talking about this morning. It's a real challenge. It's a conundrum in security, figuring out how much security you need. Do you need a firewall with some features? Yes. Do you need a really advanced firewall? Well, now things get gray. Or here's the fun one. Should you put like 7 firewalls in a row by different brands? That way it's got to get through every one of them. And right away someone's going, that's just stupid. And you're right, that is a complete bad idea. But think about it. If they had to get through one firewall and there's a problem with the first one, the likelihood that another brand would have the same problem. So they have to hack this one, hack this one. So now you can see it's turtles all the way down with firewalls, and that's going too far. So we're going to talk about risk tolerance.
Gosh. Yeah, and securing for your risk tolerance, if you think about what you do every day when we're talking with clients, it's about what can we do to secure them, in what's going on today. But what's going on today is going to change tomorrow, right?
Right.
And it's going to change a month from now. And what are we doing to continue on that change? It's not 7 firewalls in a row with different brands.
Right. And it's generally just one firewall. We're rational people
One,
here.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
rational people here. But there's a lot of debate around it. And what it comes down to is you have to have the negotiated time with your client where you think about risk tolerance. And
hmm,
first, it probably starts with your own risk tolerance. What risk are you willing to take on? Because if you have a client that wants to behave poorly, do you even want to be associated with that particular client because
right.
they're just playing with matches around gasoline? Or where's your risk tolerance at for that? Now, the good news is here in July of 2022, there's a lot of standards that are coming out. There's already plenty of NIST standards, and then we
Hmm.
have our friend the insurance industry. And I say friend because insurance
Yep.
industry, we've suggested 2FA for years. The insurance industry goes, if you would like insurance on your business, you will have 2FA. So
Right.
sometimes risk tolerance is what goes in, how I'll define it is what's beyond what the insurance company requires. You shouldn't just have insurance. It's almost pretty much a requirement to have a cybersecurity insurance if you're any sizable company at all. And that insurance policy is going to force you to a level of risk tolerance. At the minimum, you should do what the insurance company says, or you won't get insurance. And please don't. I'm not even getting at people who think they can skirt it and say, I'm just going to check the box that I do have 2FA. No, you have 2FA, and then you check the box that you
Right.
have it set up. But overall, that is a more nuanced discussion, and you'll find a lot of variety in the IT world for where people think it should be. And there's not
Hmm.
a right answer definitively. I say it like that because they're going to come down to, first, are you under or are you in a compliance regulatory area? You have to secure to that. If you're under HIPAA, you're under Sarbanes-Oxley or any of the different financial ones. Is what's the financial one called?
Oh, under with FINRA and the SEC. Yep.
Yeah. Because I know Sarbanes is not exactly, but there's still
Yeah.
a lot of data
Yeah.
policies kind of related to those. So first you start with the industry, make sure you've complied with what you have to for compliance. And of
Right.
course, insurance is a given. And a lot of these, there's a lot of overlap in these different ones for data policies and making sure all those are in there. And then you just have to figure out where that risk tolerance is. And it's a negotiated thing. And it may not be for your client base unless
Hmm.
you only do one vertical. It may be something you have to do. And even ourselves, and don't be afraid to do this, hire third party external auditors to assist you as an IT to help figure out where
Right.
those risk gaps are. That gap analysis that's done, sometimes it's hard to do internally unless you have someone in your team specialized for it. So even we have external people we work with to get this done, especially if we don't have an expertise in a specific government contract, for example.
Yep. And having those partners is important because they help to make your business better, help you in securing understanding your risk tolerance. Then you got to figure out, once you understand it, you secure it. The insurance industry has done a really good service in requiring certain things now, that people just said, I don't need that. I don't need 2FA. I don't need to have a robust antivirus. They've really helped us in the IT community in making sure that our clients are covered and requiring it. And I think that's been an important aspect because we have clients that say, "Hey, can you not put this on our computer, or can you not do this, or can you allow this?" And what do we say? We say no. We have an absolute that if you're going to be a client of ours, these are the things that have to happen. We almost
Yeah.
turned away a large client recently because if they didn't agree to these things, we weren't going to be their managed service provider. We weren't going to do it.
Right. I mean, because even though we do a lot of co-managed IT, which splits responsibility with the
Hmm.
internal IT teams, when someone says Windows updates are really annoying and we don't want to do them, I say, oh, well, then you probably don't want to engage our services because this
Right.
is one of the non-negotiables here. Is you have to keep your systems patched. I thought it was an odd request, but it's not. They're not the first person to say that. They just found it, from the business owner standpoint, they were saying it was too disruptive to their business. I'm like, how disruptive is a security incident? And then they have this constant in their head, well, we're too
Hmm.
small. I'm like, you're not too small. You're a fairly large company. You have 30 salespeople. And just that debate, like that's a lot. And you need to, I know it annoys the salespeople who are generally your less tech savvy group, and are focused on getting sales done. But yeah, they do have to be annoyed, and Windows updates happen. Patch Tuesday's a thing. You leave the computer on, let it restart. I know people don't like this, but those are sometimes negotiating things. That was a pretty basic one with that client.
Yeah.
We told them if they sign up, they have to agree. And they said, fine, we
Yeah.
like you.
Well, there was an article I won't name the article, but 90% of businesses that are hit are small businesses, and out of that, 60% of those will not survive 6 months after an incident.
Yeah, and that's a lot of stats come from the insurance industry because you don't even hear a company, even this big as this particular company is, wouldn't be a blip in the news because there's so
Right.
many big companies. The news cycle really focuses on the large incidents, but the small incidents with these companies that are, sub 100 employees happen constantly, but they never really get documented. Once again, there's some regulation coming up where they want more reporting because we have a pretty good idea ourselves working in the industry how big the problem is, but
Right.
it's not something that's easy to gather statistics on because there's not a central reporting for it. So we can assure these people that yes, they are definitely at risk. But this is what it ultimately comes down to. And what we want to bring up in this video here was it's about securing to risk tolerance, figure out where that is first by regulation, then have negotiation with the client because they may have the budget. And usually budget runs out before risk tolerance because everyone wants to be completely risk averse until they find out how much it costs. But there's a happy middle in there. And I say a happy middle, and I can't be specific because it's not. It's going to vary by the way you want to run your business, the way you want to interact with your clients, and the verticals that you run. So, if you find any of this a little, confusing when you try to figure out what you should have for your tooling and things like that, that's because there's a lot of different
Right.
right answers for it. And of course, some people think they're more right than others. We're being more open and saying there's actually a few right answers. And you'll watch a lot of negotiations and forums go where people say, I believe in this grouping of forms and I believe in this grouping of forms will be another argument, but both these people can be right, and especially if they service different verticals. So just
Right.
want to add some of that context, and I'll let people chew on that one a little bit.
Exactly.
All right, and thanks.